Yeah, so this is 1% error from the real value. Now sigma square R3 is equal to sigma square R1 plus sigma square R2. How we are adding this? Because here we already derived that if in the case of two independent variables, directly we can add the variances. So here we are directly adding, because we know that the resistances are independent of each other. The value of the resistance are independent of each other. So here 10 ohm square plus 10 ohm square. So we are just supposing that both uh, mu sigma r1 is equal to sigma r2, so both are equal, so 20 ohm square. Okay, so not, yeah, sorry, 200 ohm square. So sigma r3 is equal to 200 ohm square. So I mean square root of this. So you get square root of 2 into 10 ohm. Okay, so absolute error is more. So this is absolute error, meaning it has the error has the same units as of the real value. But in the case of relative error, so what do? You write sigma r3, that is this error, this is your error divided by the real value, that is 2 kilo ohms. Okay, so because each one is 1 kilo ohm, so the total value is 2 kilo ohms, so that is the real value. So you get 1 by root 2. So relative error is less, whereas the absolute error is more. Okay, so the other thing, the rest of it here, this is also one example. So in case if it is, just now we saw that if it is adding two variables, right? So here I put for minus, and if it is a product, how will the variances be related? You can go through it, I will post this. And in case of ratio, if it is one divided by the other, how does the propagation of variance, how is it related? That also you can see. So I have put it up here so you can see that. So in case of two independent variables, how product, sum and difference and ratio, how does it vary? So all these things are worked out here, you can see that. Now coming to the topic that is in your syllabus, that is the text book, in your textbook. So as we have done for linear and orthogonal transformation, error propagation, so we already covered the linear transformation. So now in this, how does the error propagate? That's what we have to see. So in the last class we have done till this derivation. If you remember, we have done till this derivation, right? So just in the previous the explanation, I told that we have a function. Okay, we have a function which is a function of three different random variables. But suppose we have many functions, are different functions of n different random variables, then how do you do it? How do you find the covariance, or how do you find the like variance, standard deviation, everything? How do you find out? So this is how this is the explanation for that. So in the last class I explained to you about uh, the orthogonal matrix, and also the rules for the orthogonal matrix, and also we derived this equation. So suppose we have a function y and is given by tx plus a. Okay, and y is related to x through t, and a is some constant. So the now expectation value of y, that is e of y, is given by you writing it with the simple cap, is given by expectation value of x into t plus a. Now there is a formula for the covariance matrix, right? And then we wrote it like this. This is the formula, and then we reached till here in the last class. C of y is equal to t into c of x into t transpose. So now the above equation is also, it expresses the law of error propagation. Why it is a expression for covariance. So that also shows how the error propagates. So how do we see that? That's what we are going to see. So suppose the expectation value of x have been measured, and suppose the errors and standard deviations and the covariances of x are known. Now how to find the error of arbitrary function y of x? Okay, so now y of x is equal to tx plus a, that we defined already. So now using Taylor series we can write, because this is not just one variable, we are representing the whole this set, this this like n are linear functions of n different random variables. We are showing that. So that one we can write in terms of Taylor series as y of I is equal to y of I x cap plus dou yi by dou xi into x1 minus expectation value of x1 plus etc etc dou yi dou xn minus xn cap, and then higher order terms. Okay, so uh, so if you want to show this in a matrix notation, then you can write it as y is equal to y into x cap plus t of x minus x cap. So what is this t? This t is all the dou y by dou xi. So we are going to ignore the higher order terms, because we are saying that if the errors are very small, let's say the errors are very small, so what this error, the error that is shown is, well, let's say it is very small. What is the error? It is nothing but the deviation from the mean value. So for a particular random variable x, what is the deviation from the mean value that gives the error? So if the error is very small, then we can throw away all the higher order terms, so, and we can just take only this first term. So that is what it is saying. So y is equal to y x cap plus t into x minus x cap plus higher order term. So we are neglecting that. And what is this t? T is nothing but the differentials. Okay, so in for a set of random variables, so you can write it in the form of a matrix like this. Okay, so do y1 by do x1. So each random variable, how y changes with each random variable until n random variables for y r number of functions. So this is how it changes, and it is represented by the matrix T. So now, so if one neglects the higher order terms and substitute the only the first partial derivatives of the matrix T into this equation, so then we can write it as like this: sigma square yi into the covariance matrix, whatever we got before. We are going to put this value of T and this value of Cx. Okay, so you will get sigma square yi is equal to sigma j is equal to 1 to n dou yi by dou xj whole square. This is representing the whole set, whole square sigma square x of j. So how I got it as sigma square? This was covariance and now this is variance. So if when the covariances can be neglected, if the variables are independent, then what we can take only the diagonal terms, diagonal matrix. So the other terms will become 0. So then only we have to deal with the variances. So sigma square yi is equal to sigma summation over j is equal to 1 to n dou yi by dou xj whole square sigma square xj. So this is actually this part from here to here, from this part it is this whatever is seen here. Okay, so this one from to here, here to here, it is just showing how we are coming to this equation. Which equation? This equation for propagation of error. So this is what you saw in the like previously we did the example, right? So this is what that is. So this is summation. So just we saw for in the beginning we saw only for two variables, so but this is for n variables. You can, this is the generalized equation. So this equation that you see here is the generalized equation. So we are just deriving whatever we used in the beginning. So it is not a particular derivation as such, but in case you want to know, you can just know it. So otherwise you just have to know how to use that equation, just like we used in the previous example. So now we discuss a special type of linear transformation. So this is nothing but what we have explained about the orthogonal matrix. So let's suppose that we have y is equal to rx. So n functions of y where and n variables of x. So where R is a square matrix. Now if I multiply with y transpose, y into y transpose, and so y is equal to rx, right? So rx transpose into rx. So I can put, so this t is outside, sorry, this t is outside, okay. So then you can have x transpose into r transpose into r into x. So this is equal to xt into x when r transpose is into r is equal to 1. So or if you write it in terms of components of the matrix, how you can write rik into ril summation over I is equal to 1 to n is given by del kl is equal to 0 when L not equal to k and equal to 1 when L equal to k. That means only the diagonal elements are there. So yeah, so this kind of transformation of this type is said to be what, orthogonal. Okay, so we saw this in the last class. So now we have to just come to the conclusion. So this is the determinant of the matrix that I have written here. So only the diagonal elements are there, and then d is given by plus or minus 1. So here our determinant is nothing but our Jacobian. This also we saw before. So Jacobian y over x is equal to plus or minus 1, because this is your determinant. And y is equal to our function y is equal to rx. So y is equal, if I multiply with r transpose on both sides, r transpose into y is equal to r transpose into r into x. So here r transpose into r is 1, right? So here x is equal to r transpose into y, x is equal to r transpose into y. So what is the important thing here? The inverse transformation of an orthogonal transformation is described simply by the transposed transformation matrix. It is itself orthogonal. It's just saying that if you want to find the inverse of um, inverse of x, okay, so it is nothing but you transpose the matrix, that is r. If this is the matrix r or your Jacobian, then if you inverse it, you will get the variable x. So inverse transformation is of an orthogonal matrix. Orthogonal transformation is described simply by the transposed transformation matrix. So you can just understand it that is just the inverse is given by multiplying the transposed matrix on the other side, so you get the inverse. That's it. So this is the, with this we end the unit 1. So if there is anything that you cannot understand or is not clear, you can please ask me. So with this we'll stop.